Hello, everyone. We are going to start with the last question of performance management. We are going to start with the last question of activity based costing, which is the part of performance management, right? It's a very extensive question, and I personally believe that it's a very good question to deal with the concept of cost driver specifically. So let's see what we can do in this question. F company supplies pharmaceutical. Let's read the requirement first. Requirement is simple. Requirement is calculate the charges for overheads for order A and order B using the current system and the activity based costing approach, right? First of all, you have to calculate charge what is cost for product for order A and order B for as compared with traditional costing, and then for activity by using activity based costing, right? So let's read this question, and I urge you guys, if you, you can do, or you can read this question at your own, and then start with me because it's very important for all of you to understand this question, right? So you may take 5 minutes and read this question at your own, and then we will start. Now, F company supplies pharmaceutical drugs to stores. Although the company makes satisfactory return, the directors are concerned that some orders are profitable and others are not. We have already seen in the introduction lecture that activity based costing can help the company to identify profitable and not profitable product and loss making product. So the company is actually concerned with few orders whether they are profit making or not. The management has decided to investigate a new budgeting system using activity based costing principles to ensure that all orders they accept are making profit. Each customer order is charged as follows. Now, customers are charged the list price of the drugs ordered plus an additional charge for the overheads. A profit margin is also added, but that does not form a part of this analysis and can be therefore be ignored. Now, what is the situation? You may pause this video and try to think at your own. Customers are charged the list price of the drugs ordered, right? So, whatever drugs, whatever medicine you are ordering, first of all, you have to pay for that. Plus, an additional charge for the overheads. Additional charge for the overheads, for example, if there are some operating costs involved in for any specific order, then definitely you have to customer has to bear that cost as well, right? Then it says a profit margin is also added, but that does not form part of this analysis and can therefore be ignored. Currently, F company uses a simple absorption rate to absorb these overheads. Right, the rate is calculated based on the budgeted annual overhead cost divided by the budgeted annual list price of the drug order. Right. So what so till now we have seen that overhead absorption rate is equals to budgeted overheads divided by budgeted activity level, right? So in this case the question says that activity level is the total list price of the drugs orders, right? So this is not our traditional cost driver, but again this is a service organization. This company is just working in a retail industry, so obviously there will be no manufacturing cost involved here, so they are just recovering their normal traditional overheads from the customer. An analysis of customer has revealed that many customers place frequent small orders, with each order requesting a variety of drugs. The management of company has examined more carefully the nature of its cost, and the following data have been prepared for the next year. Total list price of drugs supplied is 8 million. This is the expected price. And the number of customer orders are expected to be 8,000, right? And then the overhead cost may invoice processing cost is giving, packing cost is giving, delivery note, other overhead. So apparently there are four cost drivers which are given in this question, right? But you have to read these all four cost driver along with the notes which are given here, right? So invoice processing cost is 280,000 and you have to see note number 2 for that, right? So what is note number 2? Note number 2, it says each invoice has a different line for each drug ordered. There are 28,000 invoice lines. Now what is invoice line? It's simple. For example, if you go to a store and one product, if you buy one product costing 1,000 rupees, right? So that means what? That means when you will buy the when the store depart when the supermarket will give you the invoice, there will be just one line of the product, right? Because you just bought one unit of a product that has the whose cost is 1,000. But there is another case that you bought around 20 different products, and 20 different products cost you 1,000. So your invoice will be, so long, right? And there will be 20 invoice lines. Each product will have a different invoice line, right? So that is basically the concept of this point. There are 28,000 invoice lines each year, right? It is estimated that 25% of the invoice processing cost, which is this one, 25% of the invoice processing costs are related to the number of invoices, and 75% are related to the number of invoice lines, right? So that means what? Apparent invoice processing cost is given here. Apparently, it seems that this is just one cost driver, but it says that look, this 280,000 cost can be distributed because this it's 25% is related to invoice lines, and no, it's 25% is related to invoice processing, and it's 75% is related to invoice lines, right? So that means what? That means 280,000 times 25% is 70,000 is related to invoice processing, and 210,000 is related to invoice lines, right? Now, then it says packing costs are $32 for the large package. Oh, sorry. Then the second one is packing cost. Packing cost is 220, and you have to see note number 3 for this. Now, what is in note number 3? It says packing costs are $32 for the large package and $25 for the small package. So that is given here. So packaging cost is what? This was invoice processing, right? Packaging cost, what's packaging cost says? It says that $32 is for large packaging and $25 is for small packaging, right? So what this is basically what is given here. Now, the next one is delivery related cost, right? Delivery cost is around $180,000, and you have to see note number 4 for that. What is note number 4? This one. The delivery vehicles are always filled to capacity for each journey, right? The delivery vehicles can carry either 6 large packages or 12 small packages, or appropriate combination of large and small packages, right? It is estimated that there will be 1,000 journeys. There will be 1,000 delivery journeys each year, and the total delivery mileage that is specific to any particular customer is expected to be 350,000 miles each year. That means what? That means company will make 1,000 deliveries, and for 1,000 deliveries, it's going to cover 350,000 miles, right? Then what it says? $40,000 of each cost are related to loading the delivery vehicles, and the remainder of these costs are related to the specific delivery distance to the customer. That means what? See, other delivery cost is 1,80,000, right? The delivery, sorry, the delivery cost is 1,80,000, right? So the examiner is saying that 40,000 of the delivery cost, this part, 40,000 of the delivery costs are related to loading the delivery vehicles, right? This is the loading cost. So out of this, 40,000 is actually related to loading cost, right? And remaining, I guess, 1,40,000, right? So, and the remainder of these costs are related to specific delivery distance to customer. So this is actually related to the traveling part, the transportation part, right? So this is actually related to the distance, right? Distance traveled for the customer. Then other overhead is 200. You have to consider. I mean, its cost driver is number of orders, right? So till now, 4 cost pools are given, but details are but 4 cost pools are actually related to a lot of things, right? And then it says the management has asked for 2 typical orders to be costed using next year's budget data. using the current method and the proposed activity based costing approach. So there are two orders, invoice, order A and order B, and some things are, there are a few things which are given here, so you will utilize it later, right? I'm leaving this first part because the first part is very simple. You just need to add overheads by using list price of the drugs ordered, so that is very simple. I'm moving towards, actually it's part 2. You have to distribute overheads by using activity based costing, right? So the first thing which we have identified in our previous lecture, that whenever someone asks you to calculate cost per unit by using activity based costing, then you must recall the overhead, the steps which are used in activity based costing. The first step was the identification of cost pool. The second one was identification of cost driver. The third one was uh, calculation of overhead recovery rate. Then there was a concept of absorption of overhead by using overhead recovery rates into the cost of the product, right? So first of all, we have, what we have to do, we have to calculate overhead recovery rate, right? So let's start considering these overhead cost pools one by one. In acha, we forgot, we haven't read this part 1 because that was not mentioned here here. What is the first part? It says each order will be shipped in one package and will result in one delivery to the customer. That means what? Each order will be shipped in one package, right? So that means what? If you are having one order, you cannot ship that one single order in two different packets, right? In two different packages. You have to, one order will be shipped per package, right? And will result in one delivery, of course, that will be delivered once, and one invoice. Obviously, if you are placing an order, then you will raise just one order for the whole you will just raise one invoice for the whole order, right? An order never result in more than one delivery. Okay, so it's very simple requirement and it's very simple detail. Now, so invoice processing cost is 2,80,000. Let's try to calculate overhead recovery rate here. Um, Invoice processing cost is comprised of two areas. 25% is related to invoice processing, right? So that means what? Invoice processing cost is 70,000, right? And how can you distribute invoice processing cost? It says in each invoice has a different line for each drug order. There are 28,000 invoice lines each year. It is estimated that 25% of invoice costs are related to the number of invoices, right? So this means what? This means that this 70,000 is related to the number of invoices. Now we have to identify how many invoices. How many invoices? So you may you may pause this video and try to think at your own that how you will calculate the number of invoices. Okay, see, it's given in point number 1 that each order will result in one invoice, right? So that means what? That means if we get number of orders, invoice will be equals to that, right? And number of orders which we are expecting is around 8,000. So definitely there will be 8,000 invoices. So we'll divide 70,000 with 8,000. So this will be what? Yeah, it's recording. So this will be what? 70,000 divided by 8,000. That means around 8.75. So this will be 8.75 per invoice, right? And the second 75% cost, let me try to change the color. And 75% costs are related to invoice lines. 75% costs are related to invoice lines, right? So invoice line cost is 75%, which is actually 2,10,000, divided by number of invoice lines. Obviously, how many invoice lines? We have 28,000 invoice lines, so we will divide it with 28,000, right? So this will be 2,10,000 divided by 28,000, that is equals to 7.5 per invoice line. Is this in pounds? Dollars. So this will be 7.5 per invoice line. This means what? This means that if you buy one medicine from the store from F company, then you will have one line, one invoice line. So company will charge $7.5 to the customer. If you buy 10 different medicines from the company, then there will be 10 different invoice lines. Each drug will have one specific invoice lines, right? So that means number of invoice lines will be 10, so the total cost will be 75 with respect to this invoice line cost, right? And then there is a packing cost. Packing cost के लिए it says point number 3. Packaging cost are $32 for the large package and $25 for the small package. Do we need to calculate its overhead recovery rate? No. So overhead recovery rate for packaging cost में large package it's 32 and 25. Large package is 32 and small package is 25, right? Now what's given next here? Next one is delivery related cost. Delivery cost is 1,80,000, right? And we have identified that this 180,000 can be distributed. 40,000 is the loading cost and 140,000 is the distribution cost. So can this delivery cost be subclassified? Let's check. Delivery vehicles are always filled to capacity for each journey. That means you have to assume that there will be no unutilized resource or unutilized vehicle, right? The delivery vehicles can carry either 6 large packages or 12 small packages or a combination of both. It is estimated that there will be 1,000 delivery journeys each year, and the total delivery mileage specific to particular customer is 350,000 miles. So miles are very clear. Distance cost can be distributed on the basis of number of miles, which we are expecting 350,000, right? Now, how can you distribute loading cost? How you will calculate the overhead recovery rate for the loading cost? You may try to pause this video. You may pause this video and try it your own, that how you will calculate overhead recovery rate. Now, see, it's very simple. The question says that one order never results in more. Sorry, not this part. See, loading cost will be what? Loading cost depends upon the number of deliveries. If there are 1,000 deliveries, then that means what? You will load your truck by 1,000 times. And if the number of deliveries are 2,000, then definitely you will load your truck by 2,000 times, right? So that means since there are 1,000 deliveries, so we will divide this 40,000 with 1,000, right? So what will be the overhead recovery rate? Loading cost can be distributed on the basis of 1,000 deliveries. So this will be 40,000 divided by 1,000. Sorry, 40,000 divided by 1,000. That will be equals to 40. Sorry, what is happening? Sorry. This will be $40 per loading, right? And then distance related cost or traveling cost. Traveling cost is around 1,40,000, right? And 1,40,000 can be divided by 3,50,000 miles, right? So 140 divided by 350, that makes 0.4, right? So this will be what? This will be 0.4 dollar per mile, right? Now, what's the next point? So we are done with the calculate. No, there is one more cost pool: general overheads. Overheads, other overheads are 200,000, and that can be distributed on the basis of number of orders, right? So 200,000 and how many orders? We are expecting 8,000 orders, right? So other overheads will be what? Other overheads will be 200,000 divided by number of orders, which are 8,000, right? So this will be 200,000 divided by 8,000. So this will be 200,000 divided by 8,000, that is equals to around 25. Other overheads are simple, 25 per order, right? Now, so we are done with the calculation of overhead recovery rate. Now we have to calculate overheads that will be distributed to order A and order B, right? So order A and order B, first of all, we have to start with invoice processing cost, right? Now, what will be the invoice processing cost? Invoice processing cost is 8.75 per invoice, right? So, how much cost you will allocate to order A? Think. Since all orders result in one invoice, in point number 1 it was given each order was shipped in one package and will result in one delivery and one invoice. So irrespective of the fact whether it's order A or order B, you will process invoice just one time, right? So both orders will contain 8 will we will distribute 8.7 to both orders, right? Then it's invoice line cost. And that was 7.5 per line, right? So how many lines for order A? Just 2 lines, 2 drugs ordered, so multiply by 2, that will give you 15. And for order B, it's a large order, so that is comprised of 8 different medicines. So 8 multiplied by 8.75, that will result in 70, right? And then it says the second one is packing cost, third one is packing cost. Packing cost is simple. It says if you are having large packaging, then packaging cost will be 32. For small orders, it will be 25. So we will just write 32 and 25 here. You don't need to distribute it. Then there is a loading cost. Loading cost is 40 per loading. If you load your truck once, then the total cost will be 40, right? So it depends. So now the question is, what cost shall we allocate to order A and order B? For that, you have to read this part of the question. This is very important part. You have to read this part of the question, right? You may pause this video, read this part, and try to identify that how much cost you will allocate to order A and order B. See, your vehicle will contain 6 large packages or 12 small packages, right? If you load your vehicle once, suppose if this is the vehicle, my drawing is pathetic. If this is the vehicle, then this can carry either 12 small packages or 6 large packages, right? So if your cost is $40 for one time of loading, right, then order A is a small order, right? Assuming that we are loading all small orders, right? Because if you go for combination, so you will not be able to identify any cost. So if you are having a small order, then there will be 6 packages. There will be 12 packages, right? So if this is a small order, then $40 cost can be distributed to 12 different packages, because you will be loading 12 packages in on the vehicle. I mean, it's the same thing that, for example, if you are going somewhere and you are buying 4 deep freezer, right? And 4 deep freezers are actually related to 4 different people within the same area, not flat, within the same area in different streets. Then the person who is loading those deep freezers will and the person who has loaded that deep freezer charge the customer 1000 rupees for loading it, right? So 1000 will be divided with sorry 1000 will be divided will be distributed among all four customers, right? So in the similarly 40 divided by 12, that will give you 3.33. So $3.33 cost will be allocated to A, and 6, if you divide the same 40 with among 6 packages, so this will be 6.66, right? What else? This is the loading cost. This is the first part, right? This is the first part. Second part was actually related to number of miles, right? So it depends how many miles we are traveling. It's zero point 0.4 per mile, right? So distance cost will be what? Multiply by how many miles? Order A will carry 8 miles, right? So this will be 3.2, and order B will travel 40 miles for order B. So 40 times zero point 0.4, that makes 16, right? And what will be the other cost? Other cost will be other cost was $25 per order, right? So irrespective of the order, you just have to distribute 25. So 25 for this product, 25 for the other product. So this will be total cost for both the orders, right? So it will be 8.75 plus 15 plus 32 plus 3.3 plus 3.2 plus 25. That makes 87.25, right? And for product B, this will be 25. A was not the large package. A was a small package, sorry. So it's 25. So 8.75 plus 15 plus 25 plus 3.3 plus 3.2 plus 25. 80.25, sorry. It's 80.25. And then 8.75 plus 70 plus 32 plus 6.66 plus 16 plus 25. 158.41, right? So this is basically cost of both orders by using activity based costing principles, right? So that is basically second part. Third is write a report to the management of F company in which you assess the strength and weaknesses of the proposed activity based costing approach. So that is a 5 marks. What is the strength? Try to think. Strength is basically the advantages, right? Activity based costing in this case, since there are multiple since overheads are related since overheads there are multiple activities on the basis of which overhead is related. So overhead shall be distributed on the basis of multiple activity levels, right? And but typically just 200 overhead is the general overhead, right? So only 200 cost is a kind of cost which can be generally distributed. Apart from that, the remaining 880 880 minus 200 is that means 77% cost, 77% overheads are not connected to any specific activity, and that is connected with a lot of different activities, right? So since multiple cost drivers are involved in this particular business, it's not a very simple business. So that means what? That means cost should be distributed on the basis of activity based costing. It will give company an idea that which product actually cost what, right? It will help company to identify the profitable product and the loss making product, right? And then it can help the company to control overhead if company wants to do in future. What is a weakness? Weakness is very simple. It's a costly method. It's a time-consuming method. You will be needing a lot of information for that. For if you want to apply this method, so that is basically the weakness. So it's a very simple part. You just 5 marks. You just have to write 3 advantages or 4 advantages or one disadvantages for that, right? So that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching this. Have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.